बैठिए कने लाइव चल रही है आवाज बहुत आवाज है Tashidane Namo Buddhaya. Good evening and welcome back to our meditation session. Today is class number 12 and our meditation session is on the practice of giving and taking, exchanging oneself for others. In Tibetan we call it Tonglen. So how have you all been? It's been quite some time since we have uh, had this meditation class. Is the YouTube working? Okay. So can you watch both on the bed here, please? So we will wait for one more minute until everybody settles down. And there's also prayers in the air. So out of respect, we will just observe some silence. So time is very precious. Whatever time that has gone past, it will never come back again. So we will proceed with the meditation. So I really pray that all brothers and sisters are well and happy. And some of you must be wondering what happened to me. I'm fine. I'm fine. Just needed some mental space to cultivate my own mind and then to come back and serve sentient beings better. So, okay, so we will start the meditation. Everyone ready? Some are still settling down. So we will begin this meditation with taking refuge and generating bodhicitta. So once again, Tashitele Namo Buddhaya and good evening. And today is our 12th session of meditation. So the title of our session today is Transforming Pain into Compassion, a Tonglen Journey. So before I explain about Tonglen, so it's good to take refuge and generate bodhicitta. So in life, uh, samsara samsara is very it has been around for a very long time, cyclic existence, and each day in samsara is nothing but pain and suffering for all sentient beings. As long as one is in samsara, one is going to experience suffering moment to moment, daily, day to day, lifetime after lifetime. And as long as one is powered by desire, one desires this, one desires that, one is one is bound to stay and be and continue to experience the fires of samsara. So samsara is like fire that is burning, and dharma is like cool nectar which pours over all suffering and extinguishes all suffering temporarily and permanently. So when we are overwhelmed with samsara, everybody has problems. Life is very, very difficult for many, many sentient beings. In fact, all living beings. Some are sick, some are dying, some are aging, some are lonely, some have extreme mental suffering, some are being treated cruelly at the hands of others, some are afflicted by pain, intense physical pain, and mental pain of fear and suffering. And at the time of death, one has to move on to yet another existence, which is characterized by suffering, old age, sickness, death, birth, which is the precursor of all suffering. And one goes round again and again and again and again, and is being reborn in one of the six realms, moment to moment, every single fraction of a second. Beings are dying and they are being reborn, and samsara is growing, and samsara is being recycled, continuing day in and day out with more and more rigor. And in this degenerate age, we call it the Kali Yuga. Texts, you can understand, you can read it as Kali Yuga, but it's pronounced as Kali Yuga. So Kali Yuga is an era where people's minds, the minds of sentient beings, are so full of negative emotions, are so afflicted. So sentient beings have the three poisons, which the Buddha taught are ignorance, attachment, and aversion. So it is these three poisons that fuel, propel us within samsara over and over and over again. And it is these three poisons that keep us perpetually in samsara until we awaken from the slumber of ignorance. And until such time, we will be reborn in many different realms, summarized in the Mahayana teachings as six realms. In the historical Buddha's sutric teachings, 31 planes of existence. Through the force of anger, one is born in the hell realm. Through the force of attachment, one is born in and greed, stinginess. One is born in the preta realm, peta, hungry ghost realm. Through the force of deep ignorance and stupidity, one is born in the animal realm. To the force of desire, one is born in the human realm to experience busyness, suffering, chasing after money, endlessly running about after something, and at the end exhausting one's lifespan, one's life force, only to die and be reborn again and again and again, for completely forgetting the purpose of being born as a human being. Through the force of jealousy, one is reborn as Asura, the demigod. And through the force of pride, one is reborn as Deva, the gods, in the heavenly realms. None of these six realms is a place of comfort. Every single realm is a place characterized by nothing but suffering. So, understanding this, once we have obtained this precious human rebirth, which is so difficult to find and easily perishes, therefore, one must never take this precious human rebirth for granted. It's like once every 100 years, a blind turtle surfaces from the deepest recesses of the ocean, the bottom of the ocean, and surfaces to the top of the ocean and puts its head in the yolk once every 100 years, and that is how difficult it is. It's even more difficult than this is obtaining the precious human rebirth. It is extremely difficult to find. The gods desire human rebirth. Asuras covered for it. All other sentient beings fight for the human rebirth, and once we are now born as human, take a moment to reflect what we are doing with our human lives. How central is Dhamma practice to our lives? How much compassion have we developed in our lives? How much patience? How much understanding? How much kindness, generosity? How much sila? How much morality? How many precepts are we observing? How many of the virtuous actions are we engaged in? How much effort are we putting into Dhamma practice? How much have we tried to tame our minds through the practice of meditation, either shamatha or vipassana. How deep realizations have we gained through the practice of Dharma. No one will know other than yourself or a fully enlightened being, a Buddha. If death were to come at this moment, are we ready to move forward? Are we ready to let go of this precious human rebirth, to go into another realm where we may not get the Dharma, where we may not be able to understand the Dharma, where we will not be able to practice the Dharma? We won't be able to receive the teachings. There will be no one there to teach us. So, in this very life, we have been born human. We have full faculties. The Buddha has come. The Buddha has taught. And the teachings are still here. We are not born in a faraway land where the Dharma is not there. We are not born in any of the other realms where we cannot understand the Dharma and we cannot practice it. So, being born as a human being, that too with full faculties, and that too having heard the Dharma, having the chance to receive the Dharma. The Dharma is extremely, extremely rare. And having taken the Dharma for granted, we fail to practice. We fail to bring the full meaning to our Dharma practice. It's like somebody going to the top of the mountain, huffing and puffing from the bottom, climbing up to the top of the mountain. And there's so many precious jewels on the mountain, but one just looks at the scenery and then comes down empty-handed without taking any of the jewels. The jewel is the precious human body, without utilizing the jewels and also the three jewels of the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. So one has come to this world, completely wasted the life, and then through the winds of karma, one is destined to be born again and again and again and again. And there is no guarantee that one will be reborn in the human realm. There's no guarantee that when the last thought comes, the thought will be a virtuous one, a wholesome one. There is no guarantee that we will be reborn with our friends, our family, with a place where there is Dharma, where we can hear the Buddha's teachings. There's absolutely no guarantee whatsoever. We could die at this very moment and never again to hear the word Buddha, Dharma, or Sangha, never again to be able to listen to any teachings. So how much we take the Dharma for granted. It's just a teaching to entertain us. It's not a teaching to transform our minds. How sad that there's so many teachings in the market. Dharma has become so cheap. Dharma has become so accessible, which is good, accessible, but at the same time, once it is overly accessible, there is no regard for the Dharma, there is no regard for the teacher, there is no regard for the Buddha, there is no regard for the Sangha. Because all this come very easily. If we are to be reborn in a place where we can never hear the word Buddha for aeons, then we will understand what we have lost. So for now, before that happens to us, please resolve to use whatever remaining breaths that we have for Dharma practice, for we do not know when we are going to pass away. And once we pass away, we do not know which realm of existence we are going to be reborn. And samsara is very, 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 very vicious. And the sufferings of all the evil gone transmigratory beings are so difficult to bear. Therefore, even at the risk of our own lives, we should never create a single negative karma. We should avoid evil, do good, and purify the mind. So therefore, today we are going to take the teachings as if this is the nectar that is only going to be here for this second, and after that you're never going to hear it again. And once gone, the teachings will never come back again. And once the breath is gone, the breath will never come back again. So do not take any of the Dharma teachings lightly, for this may be the last teaching that we ever hear. And what do we do when we listen to the teachings? Are we practicing the teachings? Has it penetrated deep into our minds? Or is it just an exercise in intellectual curiosity? So we understand samsara as samsara until such time where the samsara really strikes us and we are in a terrible state of affairs. Only then will we realize how much we have wasted time in this precious human body. So, anytime, anywhere, if you're sad, if you're scared, you're fearful, every morning, anytime, whenever you can, please take refuge in the Triple Gem before you start your day, before starting Dharma practice. So, we take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha for, for peace of mind and for guidance. And also, we are practicing not only for ourselves. If we are practicing for ourselves, then the merit will be very small. But if we practice for the benefit of all sentient beings, then the merit is limitless, immeasurable, and the reason for which later we will explore through the practice of Tonglen. So I will chant the refuge prayer and bodhicitta prayer. Refuge means taking refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And for those practicing Tibetan Buddhism, we take refuge in the Guru, the, the deities, and also the Khandrus, Dakas and Dakinis. So Lama Yidam Khandru, and also we take refuge in our own Buddha nature, our true nature of mind. And also we vow to practice for the benefit of all sentient beings. Our very existence in samsara is to benefit others, not for self-entertainment. All we've been doing in this life is entertaining ourselves, enriching ourselves, and doing things mostly for ourselves. Once we change the narrative, our practice will become deeper, and we will start through refuge and bodhicitta prayer. Venerable and I will uh, recite the refuge and bodhicitta, and from the depths of your heart, please reflect, visualize that your mother of this life is on the left hand side and the father of this life on the right hand side. Even if they are deceased, please bring them to mind, and all kind mother sentient beings, because we have been born before. All sentient beings have been our mother, father, brother, sister, friend, relative in the past. There's no one in this world who is not whom we have not met before. Every single living being on earth, we have we have a connection. And if we become enlightened and our mothers are left behind, what is the use of our enlightenment? So therefore, the very core of our being, the very core of our existence, the core of our Dhamma practice is to bring in mind all these kind mothers of the past who have nurtured us, cared for us in any lifetime, as a bird, as a cat, as a rat, whichever mother, whichever form. They have been so kind and they have sacrificed their lives for us. And now, as their children in future lives and in this life, we have a very heavy responsibility to repay their kindness from the depths of our hearts, especially the parents of this life, if they are still alive, especially now. Repay their kindness by being kind and also teaching them the Dharma. And for those who have left this world and the past mothers, whatever little practice that we have, we must dedicate it for the welfare of all our mothers who are left behind in samsara, who are still struggling in samsara. Sangye chwe dan so ki chok nam la jang chu bar du da gi chap su chi da gi jin so gi pe su nam ki ro la pen chi sangye ro bar shu Sangye chwe dan so ki chok nam la jang chu bar du dai ni cham su chi da gi jin so gi pe shu nam ki ro la pin chi sangye ro par shu Ye chue dan so ki chok nam na jang chu bar du dai ni chap su chi da gi jin so gi pe shu nam ki ro la bin chi sang gi ro par shu. Until the heart of enlightenment is reached, I and all my kind mother sentient beings, as vast as the skies, go for refuge to the gurus, go for refuge to the Buddhas, go for refuge to the Dharma, go for refuge to the Arya Sangha from the merits accrued by practicing generosity, morality, patience, effort, meditation, and wisdom. May we all become fully enlightened beings, Buddhas, to benefit numberless sentient beings. Until the heart of enlightenment is reached, I and all my kind mother sentient beings, as vast as the skies, go for refuge to the gurus, go for refuge to the Buddhas, go for refuge to the Dharma, go for refuge to the Arya Sangha from the merits accrued by practicing generosity, morality, patience, effort, samadhi, and wisdom. May we become fully enlightened beings, Buddhas, to benefit numberless sentient beings until the heart of enlightenment is reached, until our purified and perfect state, until we become fully enlightened beings, I and all my kind mother sentient beings, as vast as the skies, go for refuge to the gurus, go for refuge to the Buddhas, go for refuge to the Dharma, go for refuge to the Arya Sangha from the merits accrued by practicing generosity, morality, patience, effort, meditation, samadhi, and wisdom. May we become fully enlightened beings, Buddhas, to benefit numberless sentient beings. And now we generate the four thoughts, the immeasurables, the four Brahma Viharas. Semchen tamche dewa dan deve judan dempare juche dunga dan dunga gi judan devare juche dunga mepe dewa dampa dami devare juche niren chada nidan dave tanyom chen pola ne pare juruchi. Semchen tamche dewa dan deve judan dempare juche dunga dan dunga gi judan devare juche dunga mepe dewa dampa dami devare juche niren chada nidan dave Tanyom chen pola ne pare juruchi. Simchen tamche dewa dan deve judan den pare juji dunga dan dunga gi judan de vare juji. Dunga me pe dewa dan pa dan me de vare juji nyerin chada nidan dawe. Tanyom chen pola ne pare juruchi. May all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. This is metta, loving kindness. May all beings be free from suffering and from creating those causes of suffering. This is the practice of compassion. May all beings never be separated from the bliss of the true nature of mind, remain in joyous um, joy. This is the practice of mudita. May all sentient beings be equanimous, free from the extremes of attachment and aversion. This is the practice of upeka, equanimity. Semje nam ki sampa dan lo ye je da je da wa che chong tun mon te pa yi chue ki ko lo ho do. So we request the Buddhas to turn the wheel of the Dharma for the sake of all sentient beings. The Dharma is so precious. Each time the wheel of the Dharma turns, it benefits millions and zillions and trillions and gazillions of sentient beings, limitless sentient beings. Whether they understand or they do not understand, the seed is planted in the minds of all sentient beings, wherever Dharma is taught, wherever Dharma can be heard, and especially us reborn as human beings. We are in this human body. The Dharma is not only a seed that is planted for a future life. The Dharma now is a seed that is meant for us to understand, to listen, to reflect, and later to meditate. This is how we have to listen to the Dharma. So we're very grateful for the fact that there is Dharma in this world. If tomorrow the Dharma were to disappear, the age of darkness will descend upon all living beings. So thank you so much, Venerable, for helping with the chanting. So now, so we have come back after 1 month. So we want to. There was a meditation retreat I uh, conducted last week with my university students, and in the meditation retreat, I introduced some exercises. And I think that this is very important because once before we meditate, it is good to loosen up our body, and also when we loosen up our body, our minds will loosen up also. So it's really very important to have healthy body and healthy mind. So today I want to share with you some practices where we can, do some nice exercises. And these exercises are quite beneficial. So I must remind you that when we do these exercises, I would like all of you to focus your mind on your breath. Breathing in, you tell yourself, I'm aware that I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I'm aware that I'm breathing out. In, out. And each exercise that we do, each asana, each posture, we are going to align our mind, our breath, yeah, and the object, our movement. All become coherent, all become one. So there is no separation between the mind that is observing, the breath that is being observed, and also the movement. So you observe the movement, the breath, the mind, and to become one with it. And that's the time the mindfulness will develop. Should your mind have gone to the past or fluctuating to the future, into likes and dislikes, so gently bring your mind back to your breath. So today, let us do some mindful exercises, and then we go into the full topic of Tonglen. So whenever we have any kind of meditation, morning you wake up from your slumber, so before you go into your day, I would recommend these exercises. So we start. So take your right hand and then your left hand, and then you clamp them together, and then you gently bring your neck down, your spine straight, and then each in breath and out breath is one breath. Yeah, so in and out, I count is one, and then the next in and out is two, and then the third in and out, that is three. Yeah, so one set of in and out we consider as one. So I would like you to count three, okay? And also feel the stretching in your neck. And I want you to note any sensation, any stretching, any kind of feeling that arises in your heart. Yeah. So please be very, very aware of what is going on in your body and your mind. So one, two, three. Okay. So now you take your right hand and then and also your left hand. Your left hand goes, your left hand is under your uh, left buttocks, and then your right hand, you gently nudge it to the right hand side, and then you feel the stretch in your neck. One, two, three. Very good. Okay, so now we do the exact opposite. The right hand, you touch our head, and then the left hand under our right buttocks. So then we gently push our neck down and feel the stretch. So breathing in, you tell yourself, breathing in, I'm aware that I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I'm aware that I'm breathing out. Count one, two, three. So while breathing, you note that you are, how your movement is, you note and try to be fully absorbed. Mind, breath, and movement become one. Okay, so now we are going to do the eye exercises. Sorry, the uh, rotation of the neck exercises. Oh yeah, sorry. Venerable is reminding me that there is one extra exercise. Left hand onto the under your left buttocks, and then right hand. You gently bring your cheek to the right as far as you can go. Don't force. Just naturally breathe in and out, and then feel the pull, stretching, and just rest and relax. And count to three. 1, 2, 3. Very good. So now we take the right hand, put on the bottom, and then the left hand. So we push this side. So our task is to observe the breath, be aware of the movement, and count 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Very good. So now relax your hands. You can put your hands on your shoulders, and then you look up, down, right, slowly. Yeah? Do everything slowly. Left, okay, clockwise. So don't forget to observe your breath and feel the posture, feel the movement. Okay, and then left, very good. Okay, so once more, up, down, right, left, clockwise. So feel the stretch and don't forget to breathe in and out. Enjoy the movement, enjoy the breath, and then anti-clockwise. So our job is to breathe in and out mindfully, rotate anti-clockwise, and note anything that is arising in our body, a stretch, joyful feeling, painful feeling, note. Okay. Third time, up, down, right, left, and then clockwise. So very mindfully, we are observing our breath. At the same time, we are aware of the movement and the associated feelings and sensations that arise. So we are grounding ourselves slowly in the present moment. Okay, very good. Okay. So now we will do eye exercises. So up, down, right, left, clockwise, anti-clockwise, blink. Up, down, right, left, clockwise, anti-clockwise, blink. Up, down, right, left, clockwise, anti-clockwise. So while you're doing this, don't forget to observe your breath and observe any kind of sensation, any kind of feeling, and then mind, breath, and body will slowly become one. There'll be no duality. Okay, so blink. So now your eye exercises again. So look northeast, southwest, northwest, southeast, blink, northeast, southwest, northwest, southeast, blink, northeast, southwest, northwest, southeast, blink. Okay, and then use your two fingers gently clockwise, and then do not press hard, just a little bit, just nudge it a little bit so that you don't feel sleepy during the meditation session. Okay, yeah, you can blink, 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 blink. So while doing all this, the mind, the breath, and the movement, there is a unity. There's unison, and we slowly, 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 slowly become one. Okay, so next, so you see this hand here? Can you see? So 1, 2, 3. Okay. Then the left hand. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So the right hand again, but this time slowly. Don't make it because it can be very painful here. So 1, and put a smile on your face and breathe in and enjoy these 3 breaths. 1, 2, 3. Very good. And then the opposite hand. 1, 2, 3. Very good. Okay, so now next one, we do this rotational movement. Okay, our wrists, we rotate. We rotate clockwise. 1, 2, 3. The right hand clockwise and the left hand anti-clockwise. And then reverse. 1, 2, 3. Very good. And then now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Very good. So now body, mind, breath all become one. So our job, we are still meditating while doing the movements, right? So we are meditating with complete mindfulness. So if your mind has wandered to the past or to the future, or going to something that you like and you're pulling, or something you don't like, you're pushing, gently bring your mind back to your breath, and then you will have a sense of well-being when your mind is settled in your breath, and then you can start focusing more on your body movements, and slowly, 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 you will become one. All these 3 will become one. Okay. So now the next asana. So if you feel sleepy during meditation, especially morning, if you have to wake up very early for your meditation, going to work, so you do this. So you wriggle your hands, your fingers. So then many people start to yawn. Yeah, because there is a, right, isn't it? Am I correct? Are you all starting to yawn?
Yes.
Yes, this exercise makes us want to yawn, which is fine. So next time when you're sleepy, you find me boring, or your meditation boring, or Dharma teacher boring, or whatever it is, lecture boring, so you can do this. Yeah? Okay. Now, the next one, we are going to clamp our fingers but back to the back, and then we are going to bring our body to the front. I can't because there's a computer in front of me, but you can do as much as possible. 1, 2, 3, and mindfully, gently bring your body back to position. So these exercises have to be done like as if we are as if we are dancing a very slow dance, very mindfully and not forcefully, and not like uh, it has to be done like beautifully, like flowing like a song. So we'll go to the right hand side. 1, 2, 3, and then come back to the middle and take 3 deep breaths. And then we go to the left, take 1 deep breath, and then you let go. 1, 2, 3. So feel the stretch here. So know which posture you're doing and what kinds of stretching happens in your body, and where you start loosening up your muscles which are very tight, and there your blood will start to flow, you'll start to feel better, and also your chi will start to flow better. Okay, and then now we breathe in. So bring Anjali, so make your posture Anjali, and then you breathe in and then out, and then in again, and then out. So this is one set. We will do 2 more. So once again, Anjali, and then we breathe in and breathe out. So we are aware of our breathing in and out. And then once again, breathe in and then breathe out. So our body, mind, and breath are one. So once again, breathe in and then breathe out. Breathe in again and then breathe out. Okay. So by now, much of the conceptual thoughts, the overthinking, slowly settle down through the power of mindfulness of movement. So we're moving slowly, breath in, breath out, breath, and then we are grounding ourselves in the present moment slowly. Everything done beautifully like a song. Okay, so now take your 2 little fingers and then stretch it here. Okay, so from the forehead, we stretch it and then we rotate here on our temple 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Very good. Okay, so now we go to this chakra here. Okay, the eye chakra, and then slide gently. Don't harm your skin. And then, so this is uh, free facial for you. Yeah, you do it DIY facial. So yeah, you gently rub your eyes. Everything has to be done gently so as not to harm the skin and under your eyes. So slide it across. And if you have headache, pain, so here your blood will start to circulate. Yeah. So then at the middle of your face, put a smile. So if you want to look young, try to smile more. And then your nose. Okay, and then under your nostril. So don't forget your breath. So you breathe in and out. While you're doing this exercise, you must also be very mindful of the movement. So the mind, the breath, and the movement all become one. Okay. So now we release the tension from our heads. So just release it to upwards. Hold your head and then just release your hands upwards. Okay. So for all those overthinking, too much sadness, just, the head is just heavy, headache. This is a very good exercise. Okay. Okay. And then now we start to pull our ears. Pull, pull, pull. Okay. Very good. Okay. And then rub behind our ears. Okay, there is a point here, there's a pressure point. So we rub that a little bit. Many of us have headaches daily in our lives. So this is very, very healing. Don't forget, our exercise is not to think. The exercise is to be mindful of the breath and mindful of the movements. So if your thought has gone towards the thinking, that means past, future, conceptualizing, gently bring your mind back to your breath. Everything becomes one. Okay? Alright. So now we are ready to do pranayama. So your left hand, so we will do pranayama, short one. So breathing in, you block your left nostril and you breathe to your right. Breathing in, I'm aware that I'm breathing in, and then you block your right nostril with the uh, ring finger. Breathing out, I'm aware that I'm breathing out, in. So you block this left, breathe out, breathe in through the right, and then block the right nostril, breathe out through the left, and then breathe in again through the same left, and breathe out through the right. So this is one. Okay. The next one, once again, block your left nostril, breathing in through your right nostril, and then you block your right nostril with your ring finger, breathe out through your left nostril, and then breathe in once again through your left, and breathe out through your right. That is two. And then block your left nostril again, breathe in. So you're supposed to observe your breath at the tip of your nostril, and then you take your ring finger, block your right nostril, breathe out, and then you breathe in again through your left nostril, and then breathe out. Okay, that is, you completed three. So now your right hand over your left hand. So make your body straight, put a smile on your face. Don't forget the smile. Relax your shoulders, the spine straight. You can sit in any position that is comfortable. And then you focus on your two nostrils, both nostrils open. And then breathing in, you tell yourself, breathing in, I'm aware that I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I'm aware that I'm breathing out. In, out, in, out. Breathing in, I'm aware that I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I'm aware that I'm breathing out. In, out, in, out. So if your mind has wandered to the past or the future, or starts conceptualizing likes, dislikes, start thinking about this and that, gently bring your mind back to your breath. And then once again, you tell yourself, breathing in, I'm aware that I'm breathing in. Use your natural breath, don't fabricate. Breathing out, I'm aware that I'm breathing out. In, out, in, out. So breathing in, I'm aware that I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I'm aware that I'm breathing out. In, out, in, out. So if your mind has wandered to the past or the future, likes and dislikes, conceptualizing anything, gently bring your mind back to your breath. Observe like a guard or a watchman, gatekeeper. Observe the in breath, coming in and out breath, going out of your system. And your job is just to latch on to that one point and observe repeatedly. In, out, in, out. So to the exclusion of everything else, but you're fully aware. You're mindful that you've got to observe your breath. You're mindful when your mind wanders off, you're mindful, and with the mindfulness, you remember to bring your mind back to your breath. And also, you're sitting on the cushion. You can feel what it feels like to be on the cushion. You know how the two thumbs are joined together. You can feel the sensation. You You feel the breath in, breath out, breath, and you're fully aware. Whatever sounds that come, you tell yourself, listen, listen. This wonderful sound of the birds brings me back to my true self. Listen, listen. This wonderful sound of the birds brings me back to my true self. And if the sound is unpleasant, for example, if there are motorbikes, very loud motorbikes, or cars with very, very loud exhaust pipes, revving their motorcycles and creating very loud sound which can be unpleasant and usually is. So as a meditator, you shall not make a value judgment. Like Ajahn Chah said, do not disturb the sound, right? It is not the sound that is disturbing us. It is us that is disturbing the sound, meaning that we are attaching ourselves to external things, and then we start judging, and then we start creating pain for ourselves. And that's where the aversion and attachment arises. So first thing we do is disconnect. Do not let the attachment arise or aversion arise. What we can do is bring the sound onto the path, meaning that we bring the sound and just say it's just sound. And then one of the best ways for me is I say, listen, listen. I transform this sound into wonderful sound. This wonderful sound. I Whatever that comes, I see that it is wonderful. Why? Because it helps me to grow in my practice. Regardless of whether the sound is painful, piercing, giving me headache, I change the way I relate to my external objects. So breathing in this beautiful, bright, beautiful, how to say, breathing in this beautiful air, breathe in and out, even though there's very bad smell outside. Also, we can bring in this to our practice. So every day there's a lot of smoke that's billowing from illegal factories in Semenye. Every day there's a lot of black carbon which is billowing in the air. Of course, in your waking state, do something about it, report it to the Department of Environment. But in the meditation state, we need to develop equanimity by bringing it onto the path. So whatever smell, whatever sights, whatever sound, we can use it to enhance and deepen our practice. So listen, listen. This wonderful sound brings me back to my true self. Listen, listen. This wonderful sound, no matter how unpleasant it is, we can change the narrative. This wonderful sound brings me back to my breath. So sooner or later, we forget that the sound even is there. And we forget, and we do not have aversion towards the sound. And once you do not have aversion towards anything, no attachment, no aversion, you can learn how to let it go. And that's a small realization. That's a mini victory in your practice of equanimity. Okay, so now third pranayama. Breathing is beautiful. Breath, and then filling up our body, our chest and our torso, our stomachs with air, and then we breathe out 10 times. One more time. So when you are doing any exercise, any pranayama or mindful movements, we breathe in this beautiful breath, and then we breathe out 10 times mindfully. So what does mindfully mean in daily life and in the context of this meditation? Mindfully means that we stick to the object that you're supposed to be observing. And in daily life, if you're washing the plate, stick to washing the plate. Do not do anything. Don't let your mind wander to other places. If you're driving a car, stick to driving a car. If you're lecturing, stick to lecturing. If you're working, stick to working. If you're walking, stick to walking. Yeah. So that is mindfulness. That means do what you're supposed to do with the understanding that with the power of remembrance, you remember to always do what you're supposed to be doing at that time. That's what you designate your life. That's what you do. And when you can do it 100% fully at that time you are in the present moment. whether you're doing the mindful movements, you're doing the breath of fire. So now, once again, we do the breath of fire. Breathe in this beautiful breath, and then we breathe out 10 times. So, for those of you who are new, kindly do not breathe out through the chest. Force it from the torso, yeah, from the stomach, the abdomen, the diaphragm. You force the air out as if you're laughing a hearty laugh. Wonderful. So now the final pranayama, step 4, is breathe in this beautiful breath and then breathe out. One more time, and then one more time. So daily, so we have completed the mindful movements and also the exercises, breathing exercises. So now our minds are pliant, subtle, and more settled. And now we are perfect vessels for receiving Dharma teachings. Okay. So now our mind is no longer going here, going there, not, like this. So more or less we have stabilized. And once the mind is stabilized, the mind is super powerful. And this is the mind that can listen to the Dharma and gain realizations if we focus our minds on the teaching and the breath. So, how, just like your mindful movements just now, the mind, the breath, and the movement become one. So now your mind, the Dharma teaching, and your breath become one. So, okay, so mind, breath, movement become one during exercises. Now, mind, breath, and the Dharma nectar. Once it becomes one, that is the fertile ground for you to gain deeper understanding, real, direct realization of what is being taught. So, challenge yourself to stay in the present moment. Breathe in, breathe out, you're aware. And when you listen to the Dharma, breath, and mind become one. Then you gain the full benefit of listening to the Dharma. So now we come to our subject matter for the day. So Tonglen meditation. So Tonglen. So what is Tonglen? Venerable will explain. So Venerable speaks Tibetan. So I'm not a native Tibetan speaker. So what I can only tell you is giving and taking meditation. So in Sanskrit, we call it Parama Parivartana. Parama Parivartan. Parama Parivartan. So that means what? It's uh, like a, yeah, so it's like a change. So basically, Parama Parivartan, that means you're changing the self for others. So how can we do that? Are we going to become somebody else during Tonglen meditation? So Tonglen meditation means very simple. We are taking in the suffering of others and giving away everything that we have, merits, good wishes, loving kindness, compassion. And if you think that somebody is poor, needs clothes, so you can visualize that actually you're sending all these things for them. And if you have the means in real life, of course you can do that. But if the person is so far, if the person is in a street homeless person somewhere at the other end of the world, in a poor country where you cannot go, but you have seen the image on TV and you want to help, but you don't have the means to help, you can still help. So you can help through the practice of Tonglen. If there's war and strife going on, conflict, you know, you can still help. If you can't go there personally, sometimes it's counterproductive. We are not trained. We cannot go and save lives personally in conflict zones. We ourselves might get, mortally wounded. So what can we do? So what we can do is this practice of Tonglen will make us able to connect with sentient beings at a deeper level. So instead of just saying, "Oh, you pitiful people," or so poor things, don't know what karma you must have created, start judging, and then oh, I'm so glad that I'm not reborn in these areas and this and that. That's okay, I guess, not so okay also. But if you really want to make every single thing meaningful in your life, moment to moment, then whatever happens in your life, whether it's a person who is next to you, in front of you, you know, uh, a few doors away from you, the person that you see from your car window, or the person who is far, you see from your TV, or you hear on the radio, you can practice Tonglen. And this practice is very, very powerful because it is a very, very profound way to develop compassion from mere compassion, from mere pity to empathy, from empathy to compassion, from compassion to great compassion, from great compassion into bodhicitta. So this is Tonglen. So it means shifting focus from the self-cherishing. So why do we need to do this practice? And why I say it's a profound practice, profound because we must understand that the reason why we are in samsara is because of the ignorance of the self. We think that the self exists. Actually, the self doesn't exist the way we think it does. And the very fact that we think that the self exists, we have a false sense of I. And when I exist, there will be mine, mine. Give me, I want. And when we don't get, we get angry. So when the I is there, mine comes, mine, me, mine. And then you have this pulling, which is the greed, which is the loba. And then the delusion, the ignorance is actually the moha. And or we can say the avidya also, manifesting as moha. And then we have the uh, anger. So when you can't get something or something is taken away from you, then you get angry. All these things are rooted in one mental defilement called ignorance. And this ignorance rises because of the false sense of I. We think that this I really exists. So once we project a false I, then this I needs to assert itself. This I needs to survive. I am here. If I am here, it is everything in this world revolves around me. If I have to eat to sustain this body, it is mine. My self-interest becomes higher than others. Because of I, there is an I, there will be mine. And where there is mine, and when I don't get it, then there will be hatred. So mine is already a desire, is greed already manifesting. So that's how loba arises. And then dosa, which is dvesha, which is hatred, arises when we cannot get something that we want, or when something that we have is taken away from us. Then we have deep resentment, deep hatred, and that is the mental defilement of dosa. So these three things are there all the time in our mind stream, and this is why we are always in samsara. So the Buddha said the second noble truth, that our desires are the reason why we are here in samsara. But if we go backwards one step, where do the desires arise from? The desire arises because we think there is an I here, a truly existing I. Our I is merely actually, you know, designated through causes and conditions. We are a process, we are interdependent on others. So there is no concretely existing I that you can pinpoint to at any point in time. We are all just a process. We are made up of parts, and we are impermanent, always changing. So if we really exist, then we must never change. And if we really exist, then we must never be made out of parts. We must always be there in the same way without having any process. And if we truly exist, then we must not depend on others. We must be alone. So we know that we have to depend on the air for our breath, the sun for our food, because it comes through the vegetables and the food chain. Whatever that we eat is all a result of the solar energy. And then water we have to drink. So we have to. There's no way on earth we can say that we are independent beings. We are not. Yeah, we are interdependent beings. That means everything that arises depends on causes and conditions. So we too are interdependent. We arise moment to moment depending on causes and conditions. But inside there is a mental defilement which thinks that we are here, truly here. So we forget that we are actually interdependent. We forget that we are impermanent. We forget that we are, basically made out of parts. We are not unitary. We are made out of parts. So because of that, we think that we truly exist. And once there is a truly existing being, we do not realize that we are just a process. Then we start wanting things. And when we cannot get the things, we start to push others, and that's where we start harming. So all conflicts, all wars, every single negativity arises in the realm of the mind. And if we do not know how to keep this mind in check, we will forever be creating negative karmas through ignorance, through attachment, through hatred. So these three mental poisons round and round and round and round. So we are guaranteeing our seat in samsara forever. So now this Tonglen is a practice of how to come out from samsara, how to actually reduce this self-cherishing, this false sense of I. So basically, it's this I is so deeply ingrained in our mind stream that it's very difficult. We know intellectually that we are just a process. We know intellectually that we are impermanent. But the moment somebody slaps us, we get angry. The moment we are hungry, we want to eat. The moment if somebody snatches away our food, we also get angry. So we always are in self-preservation mode. We have to come to terms with the fact that we are actually cherishing ourselves above everybody else. And that is a moment to moment thing, and it has been going on since beginningless time in samsara the whole time. And with every life, that ignorance of the false I becomes more and more and more entrenched in our mind stream. And it is so deeply entrenched that there's not a single second in the day where we actually reflect that we actually are not this body, we are not this I. There is no karma children which exist the way I think I do. I exist depending on causes and conditions. Karma children is made of non-karma children elements. Venerable Tenzin Dadunla is made of non-Tenzin Dadunla elements, and my sister Raj is made of non-Raj elements. Everything in this world is made of non-tree elements, non animal elements, non, if there's a computer, the computer is made of non-computer elements, but it is devoid of its own identity, but it is full of the whole universe. It is so this emptiness that we talk about is very important, the concept of shunyata, because we are empty of our own self, false, but we are full of everything else. So basically, emptiness is not nothingness. Everything is there. The whole universe is within us, and that's our reality. So to bring us back to the state of interdependence, to the understanding of oneness, that we to stand in solidarity and to remove that false barrier between us and others created by this false I, is the practice of Tonglen. So it's to shift our focus from self-cherishing, me, very important. I am the center of the universe. So the universe revolves around me. Isn't that how we live our lives? So it's just me. Everything is about me. Self-pity, poor me, whole life, me, myself, and I. That's the mantra that we are chanting day in and day out. Whether we know it or not, whether we realize it or not, that mantra is there. It's my happiness above others, my welfare above others, my this, my that, my work, my life, my independence, basically my freedom, my old age, my body, my this, my that. So we are endlessly preoccupied with ourselves. And how are we going to reverse this? Because in order to come out from this cyclic existence, we have to completely reverse this delusion, this dissolve this false attachment to this false I. One of the profound ways is to the practice of Tonglen. So, from the Mahayana point of view, we say that enlightenment, we have two wings. One is the wing of bodhicitta, like a bird, So the bird cannot fly without just one wing, isn't it? So, so everybody talks about emptiness. So emptiness is uh, the understanding that nothing in this world exists on its own. Everything exists depending on causes and conditions. And the emptiness is very important for us to deconstruct this false I. Yes, but that is on the realm of wisdom. But we have the realm of method. So we have got this method, which is actually the wisdom is, very important for us to realize. But just with that wisdom, we cannot soar into the sky of enlightenment. So we need to have that bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is based on empathy, grounded in empathy, kindness, compassion, elevated into great compassion, and finally culminates as bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is the wish to elevate the suffering of all sentient beings. And why bother? Why did the Buddha ever bother to teach us about the four Brahma Viharas, always telling us that others are more important than us? Others are more important than us. Why? If we are supposed to get enlightened, it's our practice. We created all those karmas and conditions, the bad karma and good karma, everything. And if the practice is all about us, and our own minds, so why on earth do we need to bring others into the fold? Now, where is this logic, that if I is my practice, I'm the Dharma practitioner. Now, what has somebody else got to do with my practice? The answer is everything, plenty, and everything, because we are just a speck, worlds tinier than a speck of dust in the entire universe, and others are plenty. So it's like our existence is a fraction of what the entire universe is, and because of this false sense of I, we think that we are bigger than everything else in this universe. So in order to put us back into perspective, these Tonglen teachings have come, the bodhicitta. So Tonglen is rooted in bodhicitta, the aspiration to become enlightened for all sentient beings, because we recognize, the suffering of all living beings. And why shift our consciousness to other sentient beings? Because if we always focus on ourselves, the self will become more and more profound. If we focus on others, we will sooner or later deconstruct this self, this false self. So it's not about self-hating, it's not about neglecting the self, but it's about shifting this self-cherishing. So in Buddhist practice, we have got two things. One is self-cherishing and the other one is self-grasping. So first thing is, when we have a false I, we start to grasp at this self as me, myself. So we think that is, so that is self-grasping. And with the teaching of emptiness, we realize, that we are interdependent and all. So the emptiness actually is an antidote for self-grasping. And the bodhicitta is the antidote for self-cherishing. So grasping at the self, meaning that we are all the time thinking that there's an I who is truly present here. That is called self-grasping. Self-cherishing is that when you know you have this I, you must make sure that this I is all the time taken care of. This I is supreme. So you cherish the self. Everything you do is for the own selfish self. You cherish the self more than anything else on planet Earth. That is called self-cherishing. So the antidote, so the bird that I was telling you, that soars into the sky of enlightenment. So what is hindering us from coming out of this samsara is two things: self-grasping, thinking, grasping at the false I. This can be corrected, partly through emptiness realization. And then, if there is a false I, it will manifest practically as self-cherishing. So to dilute the concept of false I, we have emptiness. And in order to reverse this self-cherishing, we have the practical teachings of bodhicitta, which is the one of them is Tonglen. So Shantideva's teaching in Bodhicharya Vatara in chapter 8, he said that all the suffering in this world comes from wishing for one's own happiness. All the happiness in this world comes from wishing for others' happiness. What does this mean? So you see, here is directly related to the what I just talked about, this I. So Shanti Deva said that all the suffering that we experience and anybody else's experience is because we think that there is an inherent I. So, and then when there is an I, then you will want to hold on to that I. So from self-grasping, you start to cherish yourself. And when you cherish yourself, you will trample upon other people's human rights, animal rights. You will not bother about the environment. Everything is for our own happiness and benefit. And that is a perfect recipe for suffering. So Shantideva also said that all the happiness in this world comes from wishing for others' happiness. How does that work? Meaning that when we understand that grasping onto oneself perpetuates lobha, greed, and entrenches us in hatred, and we will go round and round and round and round. So we will understand that to reverse this grasping to the self and to stop this self-cherishing, we need to shift our focus from self to others. Hence the teaching of Tonglen, which is rooted in the teachings for exchanging self for others. Parama, Paratma, Parivartana. So it is very important. So we are going to change the concept. So in the past, until from beginningless time until this point in time, we are supreme, so called in our own minds, and then we want to only preserve our own self. So now, through the practice of Tonglen, exchanging self for others, we are actually going to shift the focus from ourselves to others. And the benefit of this is that slowly, 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 this self cherishing, this ego, we call it ego self, this self centeredness, this selfishness will slowly, slowly dissolve. And we will start loving others more, appreciating others more. And the direct benefit is that we immediately, whatever problems that we have will become very small. And those who are, all the time in a low mood, depressed, and all will become happier because we realize that we are not the center of the universe. We become depressed, we become upset, lonely, and all because we are always fixated on this self, which isn't even there in the ultimate sense. It's there in the relative sense. Of course, it's there. I am here. But I arise depending on causes and conditions. It's not that I'm not here. I am here. I am creating karma, but that I is just a process. So now we have to understand that main point. So I want to tell you where these teachings came from. It's very interesting. So these bodhicitta teachings, where did it come from? So this actually we have got to really understand that actually these teachings are rooted in the historical Buddha Shakyamuni's teaching on loving kindness. Yeah. So loving kindness metta is from the Karaniya Metta Sutta of the Sutta Nipata, right? And then of course the teachings of four Brahma Viharas, which includes metta, karuna, and then the teachings of anatta, which later Nagarjuna, Arya Nagarjuna, made it into expounded it deeply into teachings of Shunyata. Right? So Arya Nagarjuna was a Pandit of the first century CE, a Mahayana master, much later, about 600 years after the Buddha passed away. And then the dependent origination teachings, Paticca Samutpada. So Bodhicitta teachings, these Tonglen teachings are all rooted in this framework. So now, uh, if you're looking specifically into the bodhicitta from the Mahayana perspective, so we have texts like Shantideva's Bodhicharyavatara, which is an 8th century text. And later, after that, we also have the mind training tradition, Lojong, we call it. So, training of the mind. Uh, and this is a very beautiful tradition in Tibetan Buddhism, and also Lama Atisha's teachings. So how is it so Lama Atisha was actually Lama Atisha was born sometime in 980 something until 10. I can't remember when, but it is from the it was about 1,000 years ago. He was alive 1,000 years ago, and Lama Atisha came to Southeast Asia. So Lama Atisha was born in Bengal, present-day Bangladesh, during the Pala dynasty. So he was a prince of the Pala dynasty, and he renounced. He became a monk, and then he attained he was very learned, but still he felt that his practice was not really very strong, because as a learned person, your understanding of emptiness becomes very profound, but at the same time, it's only one wing. The other wing of bodhicitta, emptiness, bodhicitta, shunyata, bodhicitta. So you need to balance this in order to soar into the sky of enlightenment. He understood that, and he heard from visiting scholars at Nalanda University back in ancient India that there is this one very great master of bodhicitta. Bodhi means mind, chitta is what. So bodhi is actually enlightenment, so chitta is mind. So the mind of enlightenment. So what does it mean, mind of enlightenment? It means that the mind that cherishes others more than oneself. That is the true bodhicitta. So Lama Atisha traveled on a merchant ship from India to Southeast Asia in search for this Lama. And this Lama's name was Dharmakirti, and his Tibetan name is Serlingpa. So uh, Lama Atisha set sail towards Swarna Bhumi and Swarna Dipa. So Swarna Bhumi is including Malaysia. So Malaysia Swarna Bhumi is not the airport in Thailand alone. Yeah, so that's actually just a representative of what these Southeast Asian lands are. So Lama Atisha traveled with 500 uh, people. Is it disciples? I'm not quite sure who the 500 people were. And then they landed in Kedah. So at that time, so Kedah tour. So then Lama Atisha stayed in Malaysia, I mean Malaya, that time Swarna Bhumi. So we call it the Gugusan Kepulauan Melayu at that time. But it was called Swarna Bhumi at that time. And then his ultimate destination was Sumatra, where his guru was waiting for him, Lama Serlingpa, aka Dharma Kirti. So after spending some time in this land, Lama Atisha went to Sumatra. And then, so areas like Muara Jambi, Palembang, and all. So Lama Serlingpa, the guru of Atisha, the guru to be of Atisha, was waiting for him. And when Lama Atisha arrived in Sumatra, he received the precious bodhicitta teachings from this Indonesian master. So he was Lama Serlingpa is Southeast Asian, was Southeast Asian. Yeah, not Tibetan, not Indian, not Chinese, yeah, not from China, but from Southeast Asia, present day Indonesia. So you could say that Lama Atisha had Malay roots. Sorry, Lama Serlingpa, Malay roots, right? And this is extremely, extremely important because it also brings us back to the culture and the history of this country, which is being contested, yeah, by groups which deny the Hindu Buddhist origins of Malaysia and other parts of Southeast Asia. That aside, so our focus is on Lama Serlingpa. Lama Serlingpa perfected the art practice of bodhicitta, which means that cherishing others more than oneself. And he imparted these teachings for about 12 to 13 years. And then one day, Lama Atisha, having fully practiced and realized the teachings of bodhicitta, set sail back to India. And from there, the Tibetan, kings heard that Lama Atisha was one of the most profound masters of that time. And when the Dharma was being destroyed in Tibet, in order to uh, rejuvenate the teachings of the Dharma, so they invited Lama Atisha, who was already at that time about 70, is it? Quite very old. So Lama Atisha refused to go to Tibet and they had to offer so much, come many times to ask Lama Atisha. In the end, out of great compassion, he consulted his Ishta Devata, his deity, his Yidam Tara. And Tara said that if you go to Tibet, you will benefit so many people, but your lifespan will be shortened. So he said, what is the use of having a lifespan which is very long if I don't benefit others? So he set forth for Tibet. So there, Lama Atisha, he became the lineage master of the Kadampa masters. So Lama Atisha's foremost student was Lama Druntunpa, and then from there we have the lineage of Kadampa masters. So Lama Atisha, he actually is the one who brought the Bodhicitta teachings from Southeast Asia, from Indonesia, back to India, and then after that into Tibet. And Tibetans have preserved this Bodhicitta teaching so well, and it's very, very profound. And Bodhicitta teachings, there are many Bodhicitta teachings under the mind training texts, and Tonglen is one of them. One of the very profound practice, primarily rooted in Tibetan Buddhism, and specifically within the Lojong mind training texts. And where can we find this Tonglen? We find this Tonglen in the 7 points of mind training by Lama Chekawa Yeshe Dorji, who lived from 1101 to 1175 AD CE. Yeah? So he systemized the Lojong teachings and included Tonglen. So these were actually oral instructions in the past, but he actually wrote it down. So, so this is an extension of Lama Atisha's own text called the Lamp for the Path to Enlightenment. In Sanskrit, we call it Bodhi Patha Pradipa. So this is very, very important text. And it is very important that in this age and time where there's a lot of conflict, where a lot of uncertainty in this world, trade wars, tariffs, and then terrorist attacks here and there, many natural disasters, climate change, so much going on in this world, that I have thought that this practice would be so beneficial if all of us were to practice it, and this world will become a better place because we become better people. And the root text of the Lojong teachings is also believed to be actually from Arya Nagarjuna's precious garland Ratnavali and Shanti Deva's Bodhicharya Vatara. So, particularly the chapters on patience and exchanging self for others. So, this is uh, the lineage of the teachers, and I myself received from so many precious, wonderful teachers. And I must also say that today's technique, I cannot remember the name of the Venerable Bhikshuni in the Tibetan tradition, who many years ago, maybe 10, maybe 15, 20 years ago, who taught this uh, meditation in a very beautiful way at Lama, sorry, Ajahn Brahmawamso's abode in the in Western Australia. Uh, what is I cannot remember the name of the monastery in Western Australia, and she was invited as one of the speakers, and I practiced extensively some 15 to 20 years ago, because these teachings deeply touched my heart, and I am deeply sorry that I cannot remember the name of this Venerable Bhikshuni, but it is in from her instructions that I actually received the most profound Tonglen instructions. So I'm going to share them with you today, and also dedicate marriage to this Venerable Bhikshuni. If I ever remember and find her name again, I will share it with you in this video. So now we need to start practicing. So it's very important for us to first know the context, to let our minds be relaxed through mindfulness exercises, to take refuge in bodhicitta, and understand the preciousness of the human rebirth. And now our minds are very ripe for this practice. And so we will begin. So put your back straight, make your back straight. So, so we have already taken refuge, so we do not need to take again. So now we generate bodhicitta motivation that we are going to do this Tonglen practice for the benefit of all sentient beings. And also we understand that the self, the so-called self, is falsely imputed as an inherent self. It's merely labeled. The so-called self exists depending on causes and conditions. So we have to understand that all phenomena, including self, are dreamlike. So now, breathing in, we are aware that we are breathing in. So put our right hand over your left hand, and breathing out, we are aware that we are breathing out. In, out, in. We're breathing in, we are aware that we are breathing in. Breathing out, we are aware that we are breathing out. In, out, in, out. So okay, so now we have the core practice is to inhale. So when we inhale, we visualize someone who is suffering, right? So first thing is we need to visualize someone that we care about who is suffering either physically or mentally. Please do not choose somebody who is tremendous amounts of suffering, or too many people with so much suffering, because this practice we must do it very start very small, not to overwhelm ourselves. And do not worry, because taking on the suffering of others is a mental exercise. And some people will say that it's very sway to go and do this exercise, because we might, if somebody is having cancer, we might get cancer. That is furthest from the truth. When you have bodhicitta, when you have so much of loving kindness and compassion, it is impossible. Everybody has their own karma to get cancer or to have anything. You are helping to ease the suffering of sentient beings. So, by the logic of this, there is no logical connection, and there's no past examples of any practitioner other than anyone who has very advanced practitioner who willingly wants to transfer the suffering from others to oneself, like very highly enlightened masters. There will never be a way that you can actually receive that suffering. In fact, your own suffering will become less. So please understand this. So visualize someone now that you care very much who is suffering. It could be a parent, a spouse, a child, a pet, yeah, anyone, your neighbor, anyone, brother, sister. Start small, start manageable. Please do not go to the universe or to conflict zones. Just somebody very clearly visualize them. And I too will be very clearly visualize and do not need to tell me who they are. So visualize and put your hand on your chest. So feel their pain clearly. Remember not to overwhelm yourself. Feel their pain very, very clearly. So if they are suffering from any kind of cancer, if they're suffering from any old age, mental health issues, Alzheimer's, dementia, whatever, in any way, accidents, loneliness, you choose one person only for now. Choose one person and strongly visualize that person and touch your heart, put your hand on your heart, and then you feel very clearly. Feel their pain. So, this is an exercise in developing empathy. So, you feel their pain, you acknowledge. There's no way that we can fully feel their pain because we are not experiencing that karma, but we can understand their fear, we can understand their frustration, we can understand their physical pain, we can understand that much is enough. So now the core practice, so inhale. So if they have cancer, they have mental health issue, any pain, anything, any kind of physical or mental pain, so you visualize their suffering as dark smoke. Okay, so you visualize that the suffering is leaving their bodies in the form of black smoke. It's coming out through their nostril and coming into your nostril, the suffering, the black smoke. And then you visualize in your heart center that there is a black rock of ego. And this ego, this false I, is the whole problem, the root cause of us being in the samsara. So breathe in this black smoke, the pain and suffering of the person that we are visualizing. And then the smoke, breathe in through our nostril, and then the smoke touches our heart, and there we start melting. Once the smoke touches the rock of our ego, it starts to melt. And then we send this pure white light of relief to that person. So this is called exchanging, yeah, giving and taking. So we are taking the suffering of that person because we know how to transform. We are practitioners. We are not foolish. We are not overwhelming ourselves. Through wisdom and compassion, the suffering we are extracting from the body and mind of the person, it comes out through their nostril, comes into our nostril, and that black smoke touches the rock in ourself, in our heart center, and that smoke melts the rock slowly, slowly. So the smoke is beneficial. Don't be averse to the black smoke. The smoke is important because the smoke is reducing our selfishness, is reducing our false sense of I, is reducing our self grasping. The smoke is reducing our self cherishing. So the smoke is useful. So because of that smoke, the rock of our ego, which is the which is the major obstacle, the main obstacle for us being in samsara, slowly is dissolving. And then from the deepest recesses of our heart, there's a beautiful bright light, and we send that healing energy directly to the heart center of the person that we are visualizing or the animal. So the point is, you visualize suffering as dark smoke leaving the body or the mind of the person that we are visualizing, coming out through their nostril, entering our nostril, going into our heart center and melting this rock of ego, selfishness, self-cherishing. And because it is melting, then we have the capacity to send out pure white light of relief and healing to that person or that animal, that being. Okay, so we do it one more time. So breathe. So we visualize that one person who is having a very difficult time. So we develop compassion, empathy. We understand their fear, their sadness, their frustration. We understand their pain. There's no way that we can feel it, but we understand. And from there, we extract it in the form of black smoke. All the pain, suffering, mental suffering, worries, anxieties, deep pain, in the form of black smoke, all the pain and suffering. Breathe out through the nostril. So we extract through the nostril of the other person, the person in front of you, and it enters through your nostril and goes directly to your heart center, and it melts the rock of ego and selfishness. And as the rock melts, we have more and more capacity, more and more bright light, and we send that bright light to that person, healing energy. So once again, we take the suffering in the form of black smoke, all the anger, resentment, fear, worries, anxieties, mental, physical pain in the form of black smoke. And we have so much love for that person. We take, doesn't matter because that person now is the most important person in the universe. Extract black smoke from the suffering in the form of black smoke. It enters our nostrils, goes into our heart center, and it melts the rock of ego and selfishness. And then our heart center becomes spacious, the rock is melting, and we have more capacity to send light. So we send the healing energy to our friend, our relative, our whoever animal, we send to them. And may they be free from suffering, fear, worries, anxieties. We send healing energy to heal their bodies, healing energy to heal their minds. And we can also say, may you be well and happy. So this is that one person that we understand, that we know. Now we gradually extend it to people who are neutral. So maybe uncle or auntie down the street, maybe someone we see but we don't really know. So we extract the suffering. Maybe they are having arthritis, or maybe we know that they have dementia, or maybe a dog in the street who is homeless, who is suffering from skin disease. So we extract the suffering in the form of black smoke and then breathe that black smoke into our nostril, and then the black smoke goes straight to our heart center and melts the ego, and it serves to reduce our selfishness. And then beautiful bright light comes out from our body, and then we shine the light towards the uncle or auntie, whoever it is, the dog, the cat, and then send healing energy for body and mind to be healthy, happy, free from harm, free from danger, free from mental and physical suffering. May you be well and happy. Once again, extract these negativities, the pain and suffering from the neutral person. We do not know them. And then it enters through your nostril, goes to the heart center, melts the rock of ego, and then we have more and more capacity. The ego is becoming smaller and smaller, the rock is becoming smaller and smaller, and our heart is becoming more and more spacious, more and more compassionate, the warmth becoming more and more warm, and the light is becoming more and more and brighter, and we're shining towards the uncle or auntie, brother and sister, whoever, a dog, a cat, we do not know, but we send this beautiful healing energy to heal them from all their negativities, pain and suffering, and wish them may you be free from harm and danger, free from mental and physical suffering. May you be well and happy. Yeah. And then now to the so-called enemy. So somebody that we don't like, somebody that doesn't like us. So usually people who are angry, who do nasty things, they need more compassion than others. People who are cruel, they suffer more mentally than anyone else. So understanding that they have to suffer their negative karmas, when it ripens, it will be extremely unpleasant and unbearable. So we extract the suffering, their mental suffering, and their negativities, their negative karmas. We can even take the negative karmas, we can take the suffering, the mental suffering, negativities, and then we breathe in this the form of black smoke, and then the black smoke touches our heart center and then melts this ego. So now the ego, the rock, becoming slowly from very big, now it's become half the size, and each time we send beautiful bright energy, we send to the enemy, so-called enemy, understand that they have to suffer more. So have loving kindness and compassion for them. May they change. Send them good thoughts, good energy. Yeah. If they lack something, send them in the form of, something tangible also. You could send in your mind food to eat. You know. So beautiful. So once more, extract the negativities in the form of black smoke from the enemy, the negative karmas, the negative patterns, the negative mental behaviors, the all the evil tendencies in the form of black smoke, all their pain and suffering, anger, worries, hatred, we take in the form of black smoke, and it goes straight to our heart center and dissolves the ego in our heart, and we can truly feel the ego, the rock melting in the center of our hearts. And then from our hearts center, we send this beautiful bright light healing energy. We send our friendship, we send our solidarity, we send our understanding, empathy, loving kindness, compassion. We free from harm, free from danger, free from mental and physical suffering. We send energy of acceptance. It's okay. Huh? We understand. We don't condone, but we understand. And slowly, the person will change if every day you do this practice. And then now we go move to the beings in our housing estate, in our own house. You have your pets, whoever it is. So you take the suffering of whoever it is, or collective suffering of all in your household in the form of black smoke, all the conflicts, sometimes the household full of fights and all. So take all these conflicts in the form of black smoke and then send it to your heart center and melt the rock of your ego. So now ego becoming very small, and then you beam that light from your heart center like laser beams to the people in your house. And then you tell yourself in your heart, be peaceful and free, free from harm, free from danger, free from mental, physical suffering. You can conjoin it with the metta affirmations. May you all be well and happy. And then send it to, and then you focus on your neighbors and all the collective negative energies of the neighbors. Some very selfish, some don't want to talk, some, sick, some, a little bit proud. All this, it doesn't matter. We love everybody, so we take these negativities of the others in the form of black smoke. So we don't judge anyone. Everybody has been our mother, father, brother, sister in the past life. We must care. We cannot abandon them. So we take their suffering in the form of black smoke, and then through our nostril we send it to our ego, black rock in our heart center. We melt that ego. The ego becomes so small. Now we start loving everybody. Now our thoughts have shifted towards others. Our pain becoming less. Our puny little um, sufferings becoming less. We thought they were so big, but once we understand others have so much suffering, our suffering becomes less and less. We start to see things in perspective. And then we have greater capacity to send this loving energy, this laser beam, bright light of healing and understanding to others. All the mudroom pits in my neighborhood, all those who cause chaos, I extract their negativity, their suffering, because they are suffering, they are misguided, they don't understand. So take the suffering in the form of black smoke, melt the rock of my heart, the rock of ego, and send this loving kindness energy, this beautiful healing energy to sentient beings. So send this beautiful energy with the hopes that they'll be well and happy, free from harm, free from danger. We don't want enmity in our hearts at all. Everybody is a friend. Even if they don't think that we are their friends, from our side, we must think that they are our friends. Have been our mothers before, not only friends. Each and every one has been our kind mother sentient being. They're all suffering in samsara, manifesting various evil tendencies. And all those evil tendencies of neighbors, mud rampids, people, shoplifters, road rage people, road bullies, thieves, whoever, colleagues who are miserably unkind to us. Some people in Dharma centers also conflicts here and there. Everyone we love, we don't hate anybody. So we are practitioners. We use their negativity to enhance our practice, to enhance our positivity. That is a true Dharma practitioner, bringing the all these negativities onto the path. So we breathe in these negativities from all these people every day who disturb us in various ways. People who expect us to answer messages at an instant, people we get impatient with, people who do not understand us, people who burden us with extra work, people who are rude to us, people who judge us, people who are racist, sexist, and all this, for they do not know what they're doing. So we extract that negativity in the form of black smoke, breathe in the black smoke through our nostril, and the black smoke goes to our heart center, melts the rock of ego, and then we send this loving energy to all. When we heal our own pain and we reduce our arrogance and our ego, we realize that we have the capacity to spread positive vibes to the whole world, and these people will change because of our practice. They will, sooner or later. But we must give them a chance. We cannot abandon any being and say, I don't care about this person anymore. This person is not nice. I don't care. I don't want to have anything to do. No. Sometimes you do not need to physically be with that person again if you cannot, but you can mentally adjust the relationship. People have cheated you, people have harmed you physically in various ways. extract the negativity from them, and then the negativity in the form of black smoke goes to your heart center, melts whatever little rock of ego is there, and then from your heart center you send this beautiful bright light to them, and then you tell them, I understand you, and I pray that you change. And you have the capacity, you have Buddha nature, so you will change. Just as I have Buddha nature, you have Buddha nature, and all these mental defilements are only temporary. Through our help, we can radiate beautiful positive vibes instead of becoming overwhelmed by them through all the news channels. We can be the agent of positive change in this world through our mental positive mental energy from our super powerful human mind. And then we send it to the whole of Malaysia, to the cabinet ministers, to opposition, whoever, all those people who harm animals, etc., all who are cruel, miserable. We send this healing energy. First, we extract the negativity, selfishness, and all this hate mongering, all this hatred and delusions, and all we extract from the minds of all these leaders. Breathe in this negativity in the form of black smoke, and it serves to reduce our ego, our the black rock of ego, slowly becoming a tiny little pebble. And then we send this beautiful bright light to these politicians and whoever who is causing chaos in the whole world, the politicians, all these people. So you extract the negativity not only from this land, from neighboring countries, from the United States leaders, leaders of the EU, leaders of India, China, leaders of other countries, and even the leaders cascade into people. So you extract this negativity from the whole world, from all human beings, wherever they are in this entire planet. There's 8 billion people. The negativities we extract, we breathe in this black smoke, and then the black smoke hits our rock ego, completely obliterates whatever little pebble that is left. And then we have beautiful bright light we send to the whole world, in all the realms of existence, everywhere, in the sky, underwater, on land, seen, unseen. So we extract the negativities, so the hungry ghosts cannot get food, we give food. We extract their suffering, all the hell beings suffering. We extract the suffering, and then we send it to our ego, the black rock, the suffering of the asuras, the suffering of sentient beings, human beings, suffering of the devas, suffering especially of animals. So much suffering. We breathe in this beautiful, this black smoke, and then we send it to our heart center, and then we have completely melted the rock of ego, and now we have become fully realized. We have realized our bodhicitta. We have completely purified self-cherishing, and we have completely purified self-grasping. We completely understand that there's no truly existing self. There's nothing to grasp at, and there is nothing for us to hang on to grasp. There is no center of the universe I. Others, the whole universe is one. The happiness of my kind mother sentient beings is paramount. I shall take their suffering and send loving energy to all of them. May all beings be happy. May all beings be happy. Send this loving kindness and compassion, this great compassion, bodhicitta, and the whole universe, all sentient beings become fully transformed, and they become fully enlightened beings. And I too become enlightened. The moment self cherishing is purified, and through the wisdom realizing emptiness, understanding that there is no self to grasp at, and through the power of bodhicitta, I become fully enlightened. And through the power of my bodhicitta, all sentient beings become fully enlightened, and just rest in this state of mind. So please understand that we are not taking the actual suffering of others. It's a transformation practice. It's not about taking somebody's karma reality, right? So the emphasis is on wisdom and compassion. Do not many people are afraid of practicing Tonglen, which is sad because Tonglen is most profound in dissolving the self-cherishing mind. So one of the challenges that we can face is that if you fear, oh no, if there's cancer, somebody I might get the cancer. So and the resistance to the dark visualization of your of black smoke, and some you may get emotionally overwhelmed or you may be confused about the sequence. So please understand that you must ground yourself in breathing in, breathing out, ground yourself in the understanding that this profound practice is to eradicate this self-cherishing mind. So start small, 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 then eventually expand into the universe. So this is very, very important. So when you feel overwhelmed, take refuge. Take refuge again and again and again. So I would like to share with you some stories. So this Geshe Chekawa, the one who actually wrote down this Tonglen teachings, his own sister was suffering from leprosy. She observed her brother practicing Tonglen, and without formal instructions, she actually began to do it herself, and she recovered from her illness. Yeah. So, and then there's another story about Lama Atisha. During I told you just now there was this he went to Tibet, and going to Tibet from India at the age of 70 is not easy. Yeah, it's very old, and it's not easy to go up the mountains. For those of you who live in the mountains and all, you will know. Yeah. So during Lama Atisha's journey to Tibet, he encountered a very angry boatman. So instead of avoiding the boatman, so Lama Atisha chose to travel with him. And even the cook also, he had a very angry cook. And people used to ask him, why do you keep this cook with you, such a miserable and wretched man? Because Lama Atisha said that this person helps me to practice patience and enhance my bodhicitta. So how did Lama Atisha practice the boatman, throughout the ride? If we will be complaining in our minds, so much of mental suffering we create for our own self. Like Ajahn Chah said, it's not the noise that is disturbing us, it's we are disturbing the noise. So it's not the boatman's anger that is disturbing us, we are disturbing the anger. So how? So what can we do? So during that time, Lama Atisha practiced taking in the anger of that person in the form of black smoke, and then sending he transformed into compassion, and then he sent back patience and kindness. Yeah. So there are quite a number of so let me very quickly so there was so for those of you who are very worried about um like actual taking of the suffering, so there was this one Kadampa master, and I explained to you that Lama Atisha is you know the lineage head of the Kadampa teachings, the Kadampa masters. So a story tells us of a Kadampa master who was challenged about his Tonglen practice. Usually people will ask all these kinds of questions. Why we practice Tonglen? What if we get cancer? Or what if we get leprosy and all? So someone once asked, if you really take on others' suffering, why aren't you sick? So which means that some people think that when we practice, we must become sick. That's also some kind of interesting way. Some people are scared that you will become sick, but some people expect that you take the cancer of somebody, you must get the cancer. So then this Lama replied, if you really practice giving away your happiness, why aren't you poor? That means, why aren't you devoid of happiness? If you give away your happiness, so why aren't you devoid of it? So in the same way, if we take on other people's suffering, it doesn't mean that we are going to get the suffering of others. So this is the major obstacle for people practicing Tonglen, because they're so scared. But Tonglen is a very profound practice, and over the years, Tonglen has also been one of my main practices alongside Metta. Metta is one half of the story of Tonglen, and Tonglen is the full story. So in a previous video, I have taught about metta, and I used the same visualizations as per Tonglen meditation, but the black smoke was coming out of our body. The difference between that teaching and this today is that this one, the black smoke, is coming into our system, and this is frightening for many people, very unsettling, very overwhelming. So if you understand that this smoke is meant to reduce the grasping at the self, that means the smoke has a purpose to dissolve that black rock ego of self-cherishing and self-grasping inside, then you will welcome that black smoke with all your heart. Yeah. So there are other stories also. For example, um, Milarepa. So once Milarepa was his student Gampopa. So Gampopa was also practicing Tonglen. Tonglen is very, very important practice. So masters in the Tibetan tradition practice Tonglen, and nobody ever, basically died of Tonglen practice. Yeah. So he became overwhelmed. So Gampopa also became overwhelmed. So these are some of the challenges that you might face. I better tell you upfront, yeah, so that you don't say later, that I cannot practice Tonglen because suddenly the cancer, so profound, so pain, the suffering of the stray dogs and all. I cannot take it. So he became overwhelmed by taking on other suffering. So Milarepa taught Gampopa to understand the empty nature of suffering and the self. So here we concretize suffering as if suffering is also real. So the Buddha thought that nothing is real, everything is of the nature of emptiness. The self and phenomena are dreamlike. So once you take on the suffering of others, also think of it like as if it's like a rainbow. The smoke and the suffering also actually is empty of inherent existence, just like we are empty of a concrete identity. Suffering also is not real in the sense that we think it is. The more we latch to it as real, the more we suffer. So everything in this world exists depending on causes and conditions. So, so when you know all phenomena are like dreams, Milarepa said, taking on suffering becomes like taking on dream suffering. So for those of you who are scared of the black smoke just now, you think, oh my goodness, I'm taking on this suffering. So Milarepa's advice is that even the suffering is empty of inherent existence. So you are taking on the suffering is like dreamlike, because our existence is also dreamlike. Yeah? And then there's a story of two monks. Two monks practiced Tonglen. One visualized taking on massive suffering and felt burdened. So one was over ambitious and wanted to take the suffering of the world, like suffering of people in the conflict areas, suffering of all the six realms, all the preta, all the animals, all this. You want to take everything at one go. And then he became overwhelmed and he couldn't practice. And the other monks started small, with small suffering, and then gradually expand, expand, expand. So who made more progress? You think the first monk who took all the suffering, or the second monk who slowly, 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 slowly expanded? Why?
Open up slowly, slowly.
Exactly. So please do not be ambitious. Thank you for Venerable for your answer. Please do not be ambitious. Everything we do must take baby steps. Yeah. So Patrul Rinpoche, the Rinpoche who wrote uh, the words of my perfect teacher, Kunsang Lame Shalom, taught Tonglen to a dying man. Yeah. So you know, Tonglen can be practiced even when you're on your deathbed also. So the dying man was so scared to die. So then Patrul Rinpoche told the dying man, think of all others who are dying at this moment and who are in fear of you. So breathe in their fear in the form of black smoke, fear of dying. And then from your end, you send them peace. So towards the end of his life, when the old man was dying, so he took the suffering of all those people who he can imagine dying at that moment. So he took the fear of in the form of black smoke of all those who were dying, and then he sent peace to them. And guess what is the result at the end? He became peace and he passed away in a very peaceful state. Yeah. So it's very, very important to understand that. So there was one last story I wanted to share with you. Once there was a meditation master who encountered a leper, somebody who has leprosy, who was angry at the world. So sometimes you see a lot of people, they ask you, why are we born, especially children who have disabilities. They ask you, mommy, daddy, why am I born? Why am I born? I don't want to, it's your fault and they're angry with the world. So people who have no limbs, who have, basically a lot of challenges in life, who are very poor, miserable and all, and who have very debilitating diseases, they tend to be very disillusioned with the world, which is perfectly understandable. So what can we do? How can we help? So, in such cases, I give you one example. So, there was once a meditation master who had such a person in front of him. He was somebody suffering from leprosy, was very angry with the world. So, instead of avoiding him, because angry people are very bitter, they curse and swear at you, but the master didn't mind. So, what he did was he practiced Tonglen daily. It's not one day you practice and you can change the world. So, this one leprosy person, a person who is a leper, the Lama practice, the teacher practice, the meditation master practice Tonglen, taking the suffering in the form of black smoke of the leper and sending him good wishes, happiness, healing energy, and all. And and guess what? The lepers suffering the bitterness heal. And when the bitterness inside the mental suffering heal, then the leper also heal. So then the leper was free from suffering and healed. So you see how powerful the human mind is. So Tonglen is a very important practice, and it's a very important practice. I feel I practice it not because I want to show off to you that I'm practicing, but I practice it because sometimes I cannot make sense of the world that we live in. I feel overwhelmed too, and I feel I want to do something. Like for example, wherever I can do, I do physically, but wherever I cannot do, then I practice Tonglen. For example, I am part of an animal rescue group. There's WhatsApp images and all. And recently, I mean, we know, yeah, that in when animals are put to sleep, and recent case in Majelis Perbandaran Subang Jaya in the Puchong Pound, they it's alleged. I do not know whether it is true, so I do not want to claim anything, but the rescuers claim that they beat the dogs to death, and the dogs screamed, and then the blood curdling scream that the rescuers themselves trembled with fear, and many of them broke down outside of the pound, you know. So now there is a initiative that we are asking public to come and please adopt the 70 dogs that are left in the Puchong Pound, because the way of culling these dogs, you know it's not a humane euthanizing. Even euthanizing in the Buddhist way, we do not agree, right? Much less beating. So now Tonglen I practice not only for the dogs that have been passed away and those who are about to be killed if we do not save them, bring them out of the pound, rehome them. So I have a drive, an initiative where, if you donate 30 ringgit, we can help to bring the 70 dogs out of the pound. 30 ringgit per dog. So I request brothers and sisters, after this meditation, I will give you the details, and please try to spread this word around wherever that you can, to come and forward and adopt before the next round of put to sleep, which is going to happen in the next couple of days. So we are trying to channel money wherever we to the rescuers, so that they can take the dogs out and then rehome them, put them in a shelter, no kill shelter. But other than that, other than raising awareness, other than giving some donation, I can't do anything more than that. And I feel very helpless. And I've been having sleepless nights in the past 3 4 nights. And I became actually ill on Thursday. I got headache, and the whole day I was actually very down. And then I realized I have to practice Tonglen. So that night I practiced Tonglen very, very deeply, and I took the suffering of the dogs in the form of black smoke. And inside, I was crying. But at the same time, that cry is a manifestation of the ego, which is actually reducing, 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 reducing. And I send, instead of just crying and doing nothing, I send loving kindness and compassion to not only the dogs, for them to be free from this karma. So the dogs that have died are free from this karma, and I pray that they never again, experience this karma to be beaten to death, and having this very terrible, painful, cruel death. I send the Tonglen to those perpetrators who do not understand that they have to go through it again and again, and samsara is round. Once today you kill the dog, tomorrow the dog will come back and kill you, so it just goes round and round. So at the end I felt more compassion towards the perpetrators. Many people hate the perpetrators, they say they will rot in hell and all. I took a different approach, because the perpetrators are also my kind mother sentient beings. They have also been my mother, father, brother, sister in the past. How can I judge them? Their life is not less precious than the dogs, and the dogs' lives are not less precious than the people. They're all of us are sentient beings in samsara. We are all having different roles. Again and again we exchange and come back in different ways. So when I took the suffering of the catchers, of the staff, those who are killing, I send loving kindness and compassion. And every day I'm doing this, and if more of us can do, perhaps one day bodhicitta compassion will arise, and they will understand, they will stop doing this, and then we can end this cruelty to animals in Malaysia once and for all. And having said that, there is also a rally on the 10th of May in Dataran Merdeka, for the the Wildlife Act. Yeah, so the animal protection, we call it Act Hour. So I will send the details. If you can support, please support, and by how to say, disseminating it. And if you feel you want to do more, practice Tonglen. So it is just so important for us to practice. And I'm already at the end of the meditation. Please forgive me. We have met after so long. I want to tell you, give you some quotes from Buddhist masters as to why Tonglen is very precious. So one of the Rinpoches in the Karma Kaju tradition said, Tonglen practice reverses our usual logic of avoiding suffering and seeking pleasure. So most of us, we want pleasure, we don't want suffering. So now Tonglen says that bring on the suffering. Why? Because when the suffering comes, then only the ego will be shaken. When the ego shakes, the ego has no footing, it dissolves, and that's where we become more and more compassionate. And the becoming compassionate is not to boost our ego, it's the exact opposite. We become compassionate as a result of the ego becoming less. And once the bodhicitta, the great compassion, beyond great compassion, the mind of enlightenment is fully perfected, the self-cherishing and self-grasping completely disappears. So this is a very good example. Taking the suffering, earning, nobody wants to earn pain, everybody wants pleasure. So this Tonglen, you feel the pain, dissolve your ego, and then after that become wiser. And slowly our realizations will become very powerful. So in the process we become liberated from the very ancient patterns of selfishness. And I would like to end with this uh, prayer. uh, with the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. The practice of taking and sending must be done with wisdom and not blindly. Otherwise, it's a mere game of imagination. We do not want to imagine. So, taking and sending is a method for connecting with suffering, our own mind, and that which is all around us. So, inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. With this, I thank you so much. And whenever you feel helpless, remember that your mind is so powerful. Your mind can break barriers. It can go into the dog pound. It can help to alleviate the fear and suffering and the cruelty in the minds of the perpetrators, and the suffering and the helplessness in the minds of the animals. If you can physically help, help. And if there's nothing that you can do, practice Tonglen. Sunam di tham che se pa ni thop ni pe dra nam pham je ne ke ka na chi ba la tru pa Isipe sole drova drova sho champe pavo jitara kenpa dan kuntu zampo de yang de shin de ta kungi jesu da lo Chingi wa di da tam che rap tu ngo tu sun shi pe ge wa tam chi ki ngo wa gang la cho tu nga pa di da gi ge we tsa wa di kun chan zang pu ju ji rap tu Vai gi ke wa kun to yan dan la ma dan dra me che ke pa la lun ju jin sa dan lam ji yun te rab zo ni do ji chang ge go fa nyu to sho sang ge ku so ni pe jin la dan chu ni min ju ra de pe jin la dan ge du bi je di pe jin la ki je ta rang wa mo lam ro pa re sho pa den so ve la ma rim po je ta gi chi wo pe me den shu la ka drin chen pe ko ne je zo te ku so to ge ngu dru cha de che pa de la me nam para thar pa la ke che sam yang lo ta mi ke shin ji ze le par thu ve me gi ki la me chin la sem la ju pa re sho la ma ku khan sang la so wa de cho tu ku che ring la so wa de le da shi ke la so wa de lo wa me pa jing ge lo cha sa wa dan ju jin sha pa da je su yi rang gu jin so wa yi ke wa chun se da gi je sa pa tam che zu pe jan ju ji ngo wo jan chu sim chu rim po che ma ke pa nam ke ju ri ji ke pa nyam pa me pa ya ngo ni gon do pe wa ri sho du ni ta wa rim po che ma ke pa nam ke ju ri ji ke pa nyam pa me pa ya ngo ni gon do pe wa ri sho Vigneta varim poche ma ke pa nam ke jurji ke pa nya pa me pa yang gone gondo pe var sho chopa tse me rim poche ma ke pa nam ke jurji ke pa nya pa me pa yang gone gondo pe var sho. Thank you very much, brothers and sisters. May all beings be happy. May all beings be happy. May all beings be happy. Sabbe Sattva Bhavantu Sukhita.